What's going on? I'm John, and in this video, I'm finally able to tell you about a hugely exciting challenge that I am starting very soon. I have longed to take on this challenge for months, so I am ecstatic to finally be able to get started. You see, a few months ago, I had this question pop into my mind. How could I actually take my writing to the next level? How could I become proficient enough at writing and storytelling so that I can write professionally? And this question has challenged me for a long time because as an artistic skill, writing is difficult to measure. It's difficult to apply traditional skill development techniques like deliberate practice to. It's not like with basketball where you shoot and then you know if it went in the hoop or not. With writing, it's much more difficult to assess progress and tell that you're actually getting better. So how do you actually know that you're improving? How do you improve? That is what I wanted to answer, and that is what led to the conception of this challenge. Okay, so what is this challenge that I'm talking about? The challenge is something I'm calling a novelist apprenticeship. This is harking back to the days when people took on multi-year apprenticeships to get to a professional level in a field. And that is what I'm trying to do with this process. It is an attempt to vastly improve my writing and storytelling abilities over the course of just 2 years. So how am I actually going to go about doing this? Well, during this time, I will be attempting to write and edit 8 full-length novels. And I won't be stopping at just basic editing. I will be taking these books all the way through to the publishing process. And by that, I mean all the steps of the process. From writing to revising to editing to submitting to beta readers to getting professional editing and making changes based on that. All of these things I'm going to be doing in order to make the best end product that I can. And if I'm proud of the books that I'm able to produce, I will also be publishing them through this process as well. Just to add another thing onto my plate, why don't we? From that statement alone, you might be thinking that I'm going a little nuts over here or something. And some of you might be wondering, why am I taking on such an extreme challenge? Honestly, I'm just so desperate and hungry to improve my skills as a writer, and I know that to improve my skills I need to be writing consistently, and this challenge will do just that. It will force me to write consistently for a long time and engross myself in story. And while this idea might sound a little bit strange to some people, it's really not that out there if you think about it. In creative fields, often actually creating is what gets you skilled at creation. And there's actually a really good real-life example of this from Atomic Habits. This is in the context of a photography professor, but I do think that it applies to writing, and I'll talk about how it does that more in a bit. For now, let's just get into the example. On the first day of class, Jerry Welsman, a professor at the University of Florida, divided his film photography students into 2 groups. Everyone on the left side of the classroom, he explained, would be in the quantity group. They would be graded solely on the amount of work they produce. On the final day of class, he would tally the number of photos submitted by each student. 100 photos would rate an A, 90 photos a B, 80 photos a C, and so on. Meanwhile, everyone on the right side of the room would be in the quality group. They'd be graded only on the excellence of their work. They would only need to produce 1 photo during the entire semester, but to get an A, it had to be a nearly perfect image. At the end of the term, Professor Welsman was surprised to find that all of the best photos were produced by the quantity group. During the semester, these students were busy taking photos, experimenting with composition and lighting, testing out various methods in the darkroom, and learning from their mistakes. In the process of creating hundreds of photos, they honed their skills. Meanwhile, the quality group sat around, speculating about perfection, and in the end, they had little to show for their efforts other than unverified theories and 1 mediocre photo. Obviously, photography and novel writing are very different skill sets as far as art is concerned. You can take and develop photos much more quickly than you can write a novel. However, this sort of exercise of writing consistently over a long period of time to try to improve your abilities is not unknown to the writing field. Recall the example of Brandon Sanderson at the beginning of his career, when over the course of 2-ish years, he wrote 5 different novels. And this period of intense writing and experimentation is what allowed him to develop the foundation of his writing abilities that he would use later on. And we all know how that worked out for him. I'm convinced that this method is valid and will be putting this to the test in my life to become the type of writer who is worthy of having hundreds of thousands and millions of readers actually enjoy his books. So when is this challenge going to start? I will be kicking off this challenge at the beginning of July of 2022's Camp NaNoWriMo, and because of the delay from filming to editing, by the time you're watching this, I probably already have started the challenge. And the way that'll be starting is with the goal of finishing my first draft of my epic fantasy novel in July. As you might recall, this novel is supposed to be around 150,000 words. So it's kind of like a triple NaNoWriMo, maybe. And just to break that down for you a little bit, if I take 1 day off per week, that means that I have to write 5,500 words per day. Let's just say I'm gonna be a little bit busy. I will start by vlogging the weeks of this Camp NaNoWriMo experience, as well as the journey of this first draft. And from that point, I'll be taking on other fun drafting and editing challenges, as well as sharing other parts of the journey, like how I'm going about finding beta readers, how I'm going about finding an editor and actually setting up things with the editor, all sorts of stuff like this, the practical details of doing this process. I'll be documenting for you, and hopefully it will be useful to you as well. By now, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking that this sounds unbalanced, unreasonable, and maybe even impossible. But there may also be a few people out there who are thinking this sounds like a lot of fun, and I want to try that too. If that's the case, definitely tag along, because I'd love to hear about how you are improving along this journey too. If you are going to take on this challenge, this Novelist apprenticeship, definitely let me know in the comments below, because I would love to keep in touch with the dedicated writers willing to push themselves this hard. And if you like this video, make sure to smash that like button so that YouTube knows to share with other writers like you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the very near future with the first vlog of this challenge. So how am I actually going to go about doing this? Well, I'm going to be writing frantically. Now, that's actually kind of fun. Like, if you do it like this, it looks like some anime related thing. Like, you know that guy, Gone in Hunter x Hunter? He's like, I so good. I don't remember the other part. Okay, I'm being a nerd right now.